Okay, I think we shall begin now, and other people can join in later. Mrityunjay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I would like to welcome you for this session on XRD analysis, Expert High School. And we have Mr. Mrityunjay Kumar, who is a research scholar in the Department of Material Science and Engineering. I think he is a very well known face to all of us. And he is really an expert in using Expert High School. And he'll be insights on the software. So we welcome you, Mrityunjay. Uh, it's all yours now. You can take the lead now.
Okay, thank you. So my screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we'll start with, I hope you know the basics, so I will just go deep dive into the expert high score. So first thing that you need in expert high score is the database, because this tool is for like refinement and other thing, but you need a database to match your phases. So what my objective is today, that I will start with phase ID, then I will go with phase quantification, and then I will move to hello. Okay, then we'll move to calculation of crystallite size and microstrain. So we'll start with phase ID. So this is the first how it looks. So we'll open our data. So for like repetition purpose, what I will I had planned to do that I will take the tutorial example file of the pen analytical only. So if you have installed it, then what you can do, you can go to document, and then there you will find pen analytical folder, and in the pen analytical folder there is a folder called tutorial. So you can take like mixtures and other thing for your practice session. Let's say we'll choose the mixture 2. Once you will open it, okay, it's open now. So what you can do for the phase ID calculation, make sure this desktop setting is set to phase ID. Okay, so that other things will actually will not be available, and you will have more focus toward the things which are actually required for phase ID only. Okay, once it is there, just let me adjust it. Okay, so the first thing is there that you need to determine the background. So to do that, you can do right click and search, click the determine background, or you can go to treatment also, and there you have another again this the same option, determine background. Okay, you can choose either of it. Once you click determine background, you will have two different options. One is called granularity, and another is called bending factor. Okay, so the bending factor, as you can see, it's actually bending toward upside. If you can see it, if you zoom it, okay, let me close it. If you will zoom it, and if you will go to determine background, then what you will observe that if you will increase the bending factor, this background actually goes inside. Okay, so and this granularity is the distance between the two different points. So if you have higher granularity, you have less number of points to in the 2 theta axis. So if you decrease the granularity, let's say we have a 2 value, then you have a lot of point in the 2 theta axis. Now if you will increase the bending factor, then this background will move inside. So the best practice is that you keep your granularity little high, so that you will have a uniform background, and then adjust your bending factor as per your requirement. Okay, once you are agree with whatever background you are getting, what you can do, you click the background and just accept. Do not subtract it, because in the ritual refinement there may be intensity which will become negative. Then the refinement will not start it actually. Okay, so just click background and accept it. Okay, once the background part is done, You can right click and search for the peak. Okay. So this peak search is having some automatic calculation. You can search the peak, and what I will suggest that you just accept it, and after accepting it, you just go through one by one. So I'm just navigating it through this column, and what you can do, you can observe the searched peak from here to the peak, and you have to just search whether all the peaks have been identified or not. If it is not identified, then we will add it. We have to navigate it slowly. Okay, there is a peak there. Let it be. Okay, all the peaks are there. So whatever you are seeing the second peak, those are the actually K alpha 2 peaks. So once the at 2 theta angle starts increasing, the distance between the K alpha 2 peak is very high. Now let's see there is a peak here, and it has not been identified. So what you can do, you can right click, go to insert peak, and then manually we can insert it. So to get rid of this, you can again right click and press insert click. So that will go. This seems one more peak. Okay, so we are done with the peaks. So we have identified all the peaks. Now after that, what we can do, we can go for search match. Now we have to implement some restrictions because the database is very high. So if you will click default, and then it will search in every part like inorganic, organic, everywhere. But I am aware that this material is inorganic one. So what we can do, we can restrict some database. So we can choose inorganic, or if you know the element, you can go to edit restriction, and then you can choose from the periodic table. Let's say you are aware that this is calcium oxide. Then what you can do, you can deselect everything, uh, and then you can select calcium and oxygen. So that's how you can actually uh, what you will say, you can cut down the time and processing time. So but right now I don't know, so I will just choose the inorganic file, and let's see what comes up. It will take time depending on your processor and everything. So the progress you can see at the bottom. Okay, so I'll just press OK on this. I'll just increase the size of the pan. Now, what you can see here, so these are the score. That's why we are. This is called high score, and the highest score is for the that material which is having high probability. So now let's see calcite is there, but there is a lot of calcite present. So which one you need to choose? So what I will suggest, you just open the file. If you will double click, it will open, and you can go downside and you check whether a structural database is present or not, like this one. This structural database should be present. So what does this say? The presence of calcium and oxygen and their location, where those are present. So what you can do, you should choose all those phases which is having structural database. Now, what we can do, we can just drag and drop to the top. Now, calcium oxide is selected, and you can see the pattern, the accepted pattern here. So, this one is showing how many patterns have been selected, and the rest of the peak which has not been yet identified, you can see the V marks here. Okay, so this means that those are still not identified. Let's check for chromium oxide, and the selected pattern is showing here, so we can see that okay, this the rest of the peak is having some chromium oxide, because you can see the unidentified peak is matching with the selected peak. So again I will check whether a structural database is present or not. Okay, we have a structural database also. I'm going to select this chromium oxide. We are still left with some of the peak, and these are not small peak. You can see this is very high, large intensity peak. So we have there has to be another material also. Okay, so we can see CF2 is actually matching good. One, two, three. Okay, most of the peak is agreeing with CF2. We'll just check whether a structural database is present or not. Okay, we have a structural database presence. So I'm going to select CF2. Once these are selected, what you need to do, you can press Ctrl A from the keyboard and select all the material and right click and choose convert pattern to phase. Okay, so after doing this, you can see the quantification of your material, and this completes the phase ID. Okay, so if you have any doubt in the phase ID, we can take that doubt. We can take that doubt right now, and we'll again move for quantification of it, because this is very prime, like what you say, the first investigation, the how much percentage of calcite and fluorite and other this CF2 is there. So can we take some question if they have, Shruti? Hello.
Uh, are there any questions? Like you can type in the chat box, or even you can ask it directly from the speaker.
Yeah, they can ask it. Okay, if there are no questions, we can go ahead with
Yeah,
uh,
you can go ahead.
we can go ahead. So the next part is how to quantify them from the ritual refinement. So what you can do, we can go to profile fitting tab, and from this profile fitting you will have another column called refinement control. So once you get the refinement control, you can go to global variable, and then since these are oxide and fluoride, so we know that there are no strain inside them. So what we'll do, we'll change some profile analysis. We can check the different data, how these profiles are fitting. So we can check whether pseudo void is there or not, because most of the x-ray is actually having profile shape of pseudo void. So you just check whether pseudo void is there or not, and there are more info. Okay. My laptop is little lagging. I will just stop the backup process. Okay. Then what we can do? Okay. Hmm. Now what we can do? We have to do ritual refinement for the phases. So you have to select phases one by one. So first we'll select calcite and we'll go for phase profile and select a symmetry type. Generally, we have a symmetry like you can have split width and shape also. So we can select split width and shape. And if you think you have a strain in your material, then you can choose whether you have a strain or there is effect of size. So there might be calcite is actually very large in crystallite size. So you can select size only, and in similar way you can search for another material. So what you can do, you can go and check for split width and shape and size. I don't know whether it's there or not. Means you should have some prior knowledge. Again you can go for CF2 and again you choose a symmetry type 2, split width and shape, and then size strain, let's say size only. And after that again you have to go this tab. This is for profile fitting. You can bring it down and select the default one. It will take little time to fit. Okay, the fitting is done. What you can do, you can go again switch to global variable and check for the agreement indices and look for the weighted R profile. RWP should be like it should be very low. So very low means around 10 or 10, 10, 8, 6. These are the good number, and you can see that weighted R is around 7.6, which is a good number. And then you can report this quantification. Okay, so this completes the quantification from the ritual refinement. So other thing that again, what you can do, you can check whether your profile is well fitted or not. It may happen that you have a very low RWP and the fitting is very poor. So you have to again after fitting, you have to again check it whether you have a well fitted data or any weird fitting should not be there. So you have to check it again. So you have to just go one by one and check. Okay. So we are good with this. So this completes the quantification process. Now we'll move to crystallite size. So for crystallite size, we have three methods. The one is called Scherer equation, another is Williamson-Hall plot, and the third one is again from the ritual refinement. Okay, so we'll start. I'm going to close this mixture to tab. So, for calculation of crystallite size and macro strain, you need to have a reference material also. So, for the reference, what you can do, you can with the same optics, you can take one more scan on silicon or lab 6 if you have lanthanum hexaboride or cerium oxide, aluminium oxide. So, on this material, you can take the reference, and that reference will be used to subtract the instrumental profile if the instrumental broadening is there. So this material will have the information about how much instrumental broadening is present. So what we can do in the profile, let's see we have any silicon. No, lab 6 should be there. Cerium, okay, cerium oxide is there. Okay, so we'll take cerium oxide as our reference material. And you can't take this same example file for your sample. Okay, you need to do one more experiment over the same optics, the divergent slit and other optics, whatever the presence is there. You should have the same for the same optics. You should have the same data. Okay, so we'll start with Serre equation. So uh, I hope everyone is aware about the equation. It's k lambda by psi into cos theta. Okay, so we have a plan for like you are aware that Serre equation is not considering any strain calculation in his calculation. So if you have a macro strain in your sample, so it will have little high different value than original. Okay, now what we can do for Serre equation and for any calculation for macro strain and crystallite size, the higher angle peaks and very low angle peaks are very difficult. Are like the higher angle peaks are having very low intensity, and low angle peaks is having asymmetry in their peaks. So what I will suggest, you can what you can do, you should choose your peaks between like what is 30 and I think 65 or 70. So these are the I will suggest these are the good 2 theta range where you should actually perform your calculation. So I'm selecting around from like what is it 25 to 65. So this is the range which on which we will work for Serre equation. So after selecting your 2 theta range, what you can do, you can clip it. So just press the right click and clip the range so that the fitting will not be performed over the unselected region. So once the range is clipped, now you can see the other data has gone. So now what we can do, we can again perform the same steps, determine the background. After that, search for peaks. Just let me check. Okay, there is a peak there. Okay, there is a peak here also. Okay. So once the peaks are selected, we can do the search match or yeah, this is actually not required. Okay. Now what we can do, we can go for refinement and again choose. Okay, X-ray is there, pseudo void is there, asymmetry type, split width and shape. Okay, we'll just perform the default calculation. Okay, now we can see the difference plot. Okay, how much is the, so we have RWP value is around 8.99, which is good. Now what we can do, we can open your own sample. So we'll choose some raw data. Let's say, okay, CF2 is there. Okay. Now again, we what we'll do, we'll clip the range, clip the range, determine background. accept it, search the peaks, accept it. Okay. Now we'll do the refinement. For that, let's go to global variable and then a symmetry type, split width and shape, and then again fit it. Okay, once fitting is done, what you can do, go to custom, I think it's in tool. Yeah, it's in tool. Open the Cerer calculator. Now choose your source. Okay, and K alpha 1, K alpha 2, you are aware of all these. And this shape factor is actually uh, for the shape factor depends on two parameter, like what kind of information you are taking into account. Like this broadening can be calculated as a, let me show you where peak list, this one. So this broadening can be calculated as FWHM also, or it can be reported in terms of integral breadth also. So so if you are considering FWHM, then you have a different shape factor, and if you are considering integral breadth, then you have a different shape factor. Okay, so you can look into the literature, and if you are using FWHM, then it's around 0.94, and again this value depends on what kind of shape you consider in your sample. So if it is spherical, then I think 0.94 is the constant. You can just have a look in the literature, and depending on the cape value, you have to input this one here. And now you have to enter your peak position here. So what I will do, I will just consider these three peaks, because the smaller peak will have a very small, bad calculation. So I'm going to ignore those small peaks, because their intensity is hardly 1% of the total intensity. So I'm going to ignore those. So I'm going to take this peak, so which is 28.25, and you can feel this one broadening here. Uh, so this broadening is around 0.41, and for the standard you have to move to this tab and look around the same with the same peak position. What is the value? So around 28 we have this peak. So this peak is having broadening 0.116. Okay, once the first cell is filled, you have information about how much crystallite size is there, and again in the same manner you have to fill all the value. So what I'm going to do, again I'm going to shift to my raw material, this value. So the peak position is 47.14, 47.14. Broadening is around 0.5, and in the standard how much we have? So this is 47 point something. So actually we don't have any peak around 47, but I think this is good. 40, okay, we have a peak here. So its broadening is 0.0993. 0.0993. So that's how you are getting how much B structure is there and what is the crystallite size. So one more peak we will do. This is CF2. This is the third peak. The position is 55.7. Broadening is around 0.45. So for the 55, I'm going to take this one because this is the nearest one. So 0.0936. 0.0936. Okay. So that's how we calculate the crystallite size. And once you click the lattice strain, then you will have information about the lattice strain. And why we don't have the same tab, like we can have another next tab also, but they have done it purposefully that the crystallite size and crystallite the lattice strain are having different tabs because this B structural calculation is actually different. uh, you can go to help file and have a look at the calculation how this B structure is calculated. Then you will observe that for crystallite size it's a different calculation, and for lattice strain it's a different calculation. That's why we don't have we don't have another column next to it. Okay, so this is how the Serre equation has to be used. And another method that we have is the Williamson Hall plot. For that, again you need a file which is having instrument information and one of the raw file. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close these two. Okay, I'm going to open the same file again. Cerium oxide. Okay, first again the same procedure, determine the background. Okay, this seems good. Accept. Then search for the peaks. Just look for any weird movement. I'm going to just. This peak was there or not? Yeah, there is a peak here. Okay. Okay, I'm happy. Every all the peaks have been marked. So again, what I'm going to do in the additional graphics, I'm going to choose difference plot. Okay. Now we are going to go for refinement control and just select. Although we are going to calculate strain and other thing, but we are still going to since this is a this information is about the instrument. So what we are going to do, we are not going to select any strain involvement here. So a symmetric function will be split width and shape, and the strain information. Okay, let's split it once. Let's check it again. Okay, now we are looking for one problem here. So if you can see the our data and this fitted data is actually behaving very abruptly. So the fitted data is actually dropping very soon. You can observe here. Okay, so to curb this error, what we can do again, we have to go for global variable and under the profile fit, under the profile fitting, this option है ना, profile fit profile fit peak base width. So this value is actually how much times your FWHM your base should fit. So right now this quantity is around 20 and it went. Okay, so right now it's around 20. So what we can do, we can change this value. Let's say it's 30. No, it's not changing. Okay. 1 minute. Profile fit variable. Okay, actually it's trending. My laptop is little slow. Sorry. So once we are putting 30 value, so we are seeing that this blue line has went up. So what you can do, you can change the same parameter. Yeah, now it's little better. Okay, this seems good to me. So with the this variable, we what we can do, we can again fit the whole the whole profile. Okay. Now right click and go for habit plot and check for FWM statics. Okay. Now this is how FWM is varying in your sample, and this is the corresponding equation. Now you can see there are some outliers. You can observe this point, this point. So what we are going to do, if you have a look closer look, and then you will observe that these are actually very small peaks. Those are there, which are outlier. So to exclude them, what I'm going to do, I'm going to tool and set peak status. So what I'm going to do, if its intensity is less than 1% or 2%, let me put 1%. So then you don't have to include in the calculation. So I'm going to choose exclude here if relative intensity in percentage is less than 1%, exclude. Okay. Okay, now you can see the color of these points has changed. So again, I'm going to fit it. Okay, let me check the RWP value. So it's around 8. Okay, this is good. So after fitting, again, what we can do, go to half-bit plot and check for broadening. Okay, so now there are two kind of broadening. As you can remember, I told you this profile is of pseudo word profile. So you have a Lorentzian and Gaussian. Two profiles are there, and this is the equation for them. So this is U quantity, the first coefficient, second coefficient, U, V, W. So these coefficients are there for Lorentzian and Gaussian, and to take them now we have to what we have to do we have to take them for the line profile analysis standard. So select this, take as line profile analysis standard. Once you take this value, what you should observe that in the last uh, column, in the last rows, this Gaussian coefficient to A, Gaussian coefficient B, Gaussian coefficient C. So these should have uh, the same quantity. So 0.0077 with the error of 5, so it's around 0.00765. So this is the same value as this one. So coefficient A should match with coefficient B, C. Okay, so they are there. So once these values are there, now what you can do, go to the scan list, delete all this profile, remove the scan, remove the peak list, and now what you can do, now you have to insert your raw material, raw information. So rather than opening it, just click insert. So it will insert in the same profile. Or again, what I will say that if you have like many sample, what you can do, you can actually save this blank profile, this one, this blank profile, and you can do analysis over the same blank profile. If the optics of your XRD system is the same, you can keep using this the same profile. Now I'm going to insert a raw data document, analytical, high score, tutorial, calcium fluoride, open. Okay, now I'm going to determine background, accept it, search the peaks, accept it. Again, go for refinement control, global variable, just look for asymmetry. The same split bit command is still there, and okay, we'll again fit it. It's taking some time. Okay, yeah, it's done. So now what I'm going to do, I'm switching the desktop from profile ID to uh, line profile analysis. Okay, let me check refinement control. There is the peak list. Okay. Now this graphics is showing the plot for Williamson Hall plot. So once you will switch the desktop, so in the peak list, under the peak list, this graphic should pop up. So now this graphics is showing the graph between b cos theta and the sin theta, and the information about the size is here. So now what you can do, there are three type of Williamson Hall plot if you are aware. So let's go to customize document setting. So here you can see all the three. Where is that? Okay. Williamson Hall plot. So you can see all the three different Williamson Hall plot listing is there. The first is called linear Williamson Hall plot. So if you think that your sample is having uh, a large dominance of crystallite size, then you should choose linear crystallite Williamson Hall plot. And if you are thinking that okay, your sample might be having micro strain in it rather than the crystallite size is not much important, then you can choose quadratic Williamson Hall plot. Or if you're having information that they might have crystallite size as well as macrostrain for the broadening, then you can select quadratic Williamson Hall plot. So once you select quadratic Hall plot, sorry, average length that average Williamson Hall plot, and click apply again, fit for once. Okay. So this estimates around 285. I don't remember from the seller how much it was, but there might have some deviation. But these are permissible because the error is around 34. If I can remember, it was around between 200 to 300. I don't exactly remember, but 285 is the crystallite size and zero point 0.3 is the strain here from the Williamson Hall plot. So there is one more method. So if you have any doubt, we can clear it from here only. If any question is related to Williamson Hall plot, so no question, we can go ahead.
Are there any questions? If there are any questions from the audience for the session till now, including the Williamson Hall plot, they can ask from the speaker right now.
Actually, I have a question about a
Okay, I think
database.
Nitin, we can go ahead.
Yeah.
Shruti?
Yes, Rubia.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
I wanted to ask about this database. So actually, I have a database which doesn't give the structure information. So can I know which database Mrityunjay is using? Like, I
Okay,
don't
so
get the
this
structure
database
information
is
from my.
actually license database. So I will tell you the work around it. So I will just delete this. So what you can do if you don't have like a structured database, so I'll just open it for the phase ID. Let's say mixture 2 is there. Now we were aware that CF2 is there, and what was another L203. Just let me check. Determine background, accept, search peak, accept, search match. So if you don't have any like the structural information is not present in your database, what you can do, you go to Crystal Open Database, Crystal Open Database. What was that? Okay, the first one is CaCO3. Go for search CaO 2 send. Just I will quickly write on my notebook what are the different chromium oxide Cr2O3. What is the another one? CaF2, CO, CaCO3, CaO3. Okay, I have noted it down. I'm going to remove it from the match. Okay. Now, okay, CaCO3. I forgot to write carbon. Send. Okay, CaCO3 and what was hexagonal crystal structure? R bar 3 C. R bar 3 C. So this one. So what we can do, we can download this crystal information file. Okay, CaCO3 in the document. Okay, save. So another one we have chromium oxide, CrO, Cr2O3. Okay, we have Cr2O3. Again, we have a lot of database. Okay, let me check the space group. I don't remember. Cr2O3 is hexagonal. R bar 3C. R bar 3C. Okay, and one more we have CF2. So it's cubic M bar 3M. CaO3. Sorry, CaF2. Okay, so I'm going to download for M bar 3M. CaF2. So once you have the crystal information file, what you can do, I'm going to remove all those. Now you know what are the different peaks you have in your sample. So rather than selecting from the database, you can directly insert it from the insert option. Go to the document where I have downloaded it. I have selected all the three and open it. Where are the peak list? Okay, the name you need to change. 1 minute. Where is that? What happened? insert. I think we need to insert it one by one. No. Fluoride is there. Okay, I will come back to this, but this needs to be done something like this only. Okay, I will let you know.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Mrityunjay. Thank you.
Once you have a CIF file, you will be able to calculate how much. Okay, these are there, you see, but I don't know why the names are not coming. My laptop is behaving right now in weird way. So I will let you know. The name should come here. You just write
Oh,
once.
oh.
If you
Okay.
find some difficulty, you let me know.
Yeah, yeah. So just a
Okay.
doubt. So when we insert the files, do we again need to convert the pattern into phases to get the quantification?
No, those are direct phases.
Fine.
Those are
Thank.
direct phases. That's
Okay.
why we are able to see this chart. Otherwise, you can't see
Yeah,
the
yeah.
chart.
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay. So the last part that we are left with is the ritual refinement for calculation of microstrain and crystallite size. So now again we are going to open. Uh, where is that tutorial? CF2 raw data. Now again we are doing the same. Determine the background, accept it, search the peak, accept it. Just look if any weird peak is there or not. Okay, these are there. Okay, those are there. Okay, so there may be a peak here. I'm just going to insert one peak here. Okay, disable it. Now we are going to add. We are just going to fit once. Now what we can do? We can add cerium oxide. Oh, I did a little mistake. First, we need to do with the instrument part, not the raw material. So I'm just going to cancel this right now. Open cerium oxide. This one. Okay. My background. Search for the peaks. Then search match. This is cerium oxide. So I'm just going to in the periodic table select all cerium oxide. Okay, close, search. Okay, it's there. Okay, okay. Once page is there, we'll switch to ritual refinement, ritual analysis desktop. Now here we are again going to select global variable, asymmetric function to split width and shape, and again perform the refinement. So this refinement part is very important. You have to consider all the different data, all the different possibilities that may happen there. So right, in the last part I told you, if the fitted, like again here we are seeing that the fitted profile or the calculator profile is actually dropping down very suddenly. So again you have to go there and change the value from 20 to 30 or whatever it fits for you. So let's go for profile fitting profile. Okay, this value to higher amount, let's say 30. Let me increase a little bit. Okay. So this 30 is not working, we'll increase it little bit. 35. No, it's not changing at all. Let's go for higher value. 50. No. Okay. So the thing is that I don't know why it's not responding right now, but it should actually respond. This if you change the peak base width, this the the knee of the curve will actually shift to the right, and it will actually match it. And after matching, after matching them, again you have to fit the profile, and by clicking that. Maybe I mean, okay, okay. I was not in line profile. So right now you might be if you'll observe that this is right now fit a profile is actually coming. I was in retweeled analysis mode, and if you'll see this actually integration comes to R, if you can observe. So the ritual refinement actually is different thing. I will come to this point later. So so that might be the reason it was not change the value. Changing the value is not it was actually not changing the value in the graphics pan. Let me try it again. So go to global variable. Let's switch to 20. No, no change. This is good. Okay, look, we'll proceed with the procedure. peak base width. This is actually this. Okay, we'll go ahead. We'll just fit the profile. Let's see what happens. No peak refinement. Okay, double click. No peaks for refinement. We have defined the peaks. Peak list. It's there. That's weird. This is cerium oxide is there. Everything is there. Let me start it again. I don't know why it's not behaving like. Just open cerium oxide. Okay, my background accept search peaks accept. Let me go for difference plot. Treatment control. This one. Agreement. Fit it. Okay, it's working now. So right now we have a weightage profile of 11. Okay, we'll try to. Where is that global variable? 20 to 30. Okay, now I can see the change. I don't know why it was not changing that time. Okay, now you can see the blue curve, the calculated curve is actually matching with our observed intensity, the blue the red line. So after changing that value again, you have to fit the profile. Let's check the weightage R profile. So it's still 11. So we are good with 11. We'll go further, and again we have to check FW chemostatics. Okay, that's good. We'll insert our data. We will insert our phase. So once you know this is the cerium oxide, you can insert in many ways. What I will do, I'll just insert from the structure. What we have it here. See tutorial structure, and this step you can do for your own sample also, because for a standard the lattice parameter and other structure are almost same. So what you can select, you can just select cerium oxide and press OK. So it will directly insert the cerium oxide here, and we'll select the phase. We'll check the information, symmetry function to split width and shape. Okay, there are no strain and size in the instrument broadening, so we'll just fit it. Let's check again the global variable, still 11. Okay, so 11 is almost like the converged quantity. So what we have to do now, just click on the phase, right click on the phase, and press the this button, take as size strain standard. So what it will do, this UVW standard will be saved in your database. So if you'll go down and look for global variable, if you'll go down, you will see the UV standard. 0.014, 0. Take care. Okay, actually we here it is showing in actually two space variables. So 0.014 should actually come up as, okay, it's around 0 only, 0.01. So 0.01. Okay. So this coefficient of FWHM square equation is actually gets saved in UVW. So after that, once it is saved, what you can do, you can remove the phase, delete, yeah, delete phase, and then again from the scan list you can delete the scan, remove the scan. What happened? Remove scan, remove scan, remove the peak list also, remove, delete peaks. Okay, so once UVW information is saved, what you can do again, you can insert your own peak. Open, do the same regular analysis, background, accept, search for peaks. Okay, once the peaks are there, go to the refinement control. We need phase here, CF2. So we'll search match, it's the CF2 in the periodic table. Okay, CF2, where is calcium? Fluorine. Okay, close, search. Okay, so now CF2 is here. We'll just look at the structure is there or not. Yeah, it's there. We can select this phase, convert this to phase, convert to phase. Now we'll go to refinement control, into the fluoride, choose this as split width and shape, and size strain analysis to both size and strain. So these two information you need to refine. Just click the default value. Let the RWP minimize. So it's around 6%, which is good. Okay, so yeah. So if you select the phase, so you can tell in that phase what are the macro strain is there, how much macro strain is there, and how much crystallite size is there. So you can see that this macro strain is around how much, like it's saying the 0, because the CF2 is very annealed material. What happened? CF2 is a very annealed material, and crystallite size saying that it's very high. But if you will do on your sample, you will actually no, 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 something is wrong. Something is wrong. We have done on the same sample, na? Wait. Something. This is correct. What happened? chi-square for Lorentz is very high. You can see it's around 3.9. So it should be around 0.0 something. So we'll again look for the refinement. Look for the refinement. I'll just check whether any weird fitting is there or not. This is good. This is good. Okay. 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 This has not been marked. Okay. Okay. So higher angle peaks are not there. Still, approximate value should be there. Mm, Global variable. Pseudo white X-ray. Things are okay. Let me check in the Rietveld analysis. Oh. So for Rietveld analysis, you have to actually go to the Rietveld. So we were actually fitting the profile only. So that's why the function was not changing. So now here what you can do the size strain analysis here. So this option will not come without switching the desktop. So you have to switch the desktop to Rietveld analysis and then you have to select size strain analysis. Okay, let me. Okay, now you can see the value. It's around 302 and the macro strain is 0.237. So if you can remember, this data was around 250 from the Williamson-Hall plot and 300 is from Rietveld analysis. So these are very close, I think. So this actually concludes this tutorial. I was lagging little, sorry for that. I had used this a long time ago, so it took some time. So I can take the question now if you have any.
Okay, thank you so much, Mrityunjay, for your time. We have one question in the chat box.
Yeah.
Take that question. In fact, this person has three questions in one. So I'll go. When do we strip K alpha 2?
We don't actually need to strip K alpha 2 because Miss, why you want to strip K alpha 2? It is its peak is if K alpha 1 peak is there, so we know that where this K alpha 2 peak will be. So the software takes care of this. If you are not subtracting K alpha 2, it's not a big deal.
Okay. So
Only
the
for
second.
publication, you can strip K alpha 2 if you don't want to show them. But everyone knows that if K alpha 1 is there, K alpha 2 will be there. So better not to strip it.
Okay. So shall I take the second question now?
Yeah.
Okay. So question number second is, are micro strain and residual stress calculations similar? Can we calculate residual stress from default experiments provided that we have same for standard in similar XRD experimental parameters? or should one design the experiment differently at slow rate?
Okay, this stress measurement, see, we are not directly calculating the stress measurement here. So what we are doing, we are estimating it from the refinement. So if you want to calculate the residual stress, what I will suggest that you should actually just not measure from the one single position. You should actually tilt your sample also. So the calculation of a stress calculation is very long. So rather than just rotating your sample, you have to tilt sample also. You have to look from the different direction. So this measurement is totally different. So this macro strain is giving some idea about that your sample has some macro strain in it, but you cannot comment about the stress present in it. So that's one thing we can say. People had reported it earlier that if you know the macro strain, you can multiply it with the stiffness and you can get how much stress distribution is there. So that's one thing we can do. And another question what we had, can we calculate residual stress? No, we cannot calculate residual stress. For residual stress, you have to perform different experiment altogether. And the next question,
The third part is please mention links for YouTube tutorials on these if there are any.
so yeah, it's there. During the lockdown, Pan Analytical has conducted a lot of tutorial. So those are there. If you want to share the link, if you just switch to Pan Analytical webinar, you will reach there only. They have a series of lecture and they have done it in the lockdown. So it's on there. I don't know on YouTube it's there or not, but on Pan Analytical webinar portal it's there.
Okay. So, are there any more questions from the audience? If you want, you can unmute yourself to ask questions and directly interact with the speaker. Okay, I think Mrityunjay, people will catch you around and then ask questions now.
Yeah, no issue at all.
Okay, it was a really very interesting session, and I think everyone must have learned a lot from this session. Thank you, Mrityunjay, for your time and for this interesting talk.
Thank you.
Thank you.